Hey everybody, it's Kate Beaters. Oops, little technology glitch earlier. Let's see. Let me know if you can hear me. Do a like or a heart or something. Let me know who's there. Happy Monday. I was having a little bit of a technology glitch, so I switched how I was doing this. So let me just see if this is showing up. Yep, we're live. Great. Let's see. So let me know who's here. Let's see. I'm doing what is this one? Like, whoa. There we go. Okay, so if you're here, let me know you're here. Say hi. I got some really cool content to share with you today. And if anybody's here from Florida or Houston, just know that all of us, we're thinking so much of you and send you guys love and positive energy, donations, whatever we can do. So anyways, but let me know who's here. Do a like or heart or something so I know who's here. Got some really great content. This is actually something I was teaching at my Brilliance Coaching Program Intensive this past week. And some really great stuff came up. So I thought I would pull a little bit of it together and share it with all of you as a really great way to kick off your week. So let me know who's here. And I figure if we get enough people, I will do some tapping. If we get a good group staying on. So anyways, let me know who's here, where you're from, and let me start sharing this. You know, I just feel that goal setting is so hugely important. Everyone talks about it. Everyone's writing about it and all that kind of stuff. But what happens when you set goals and I'm just trying to fix my chair, and you just don't believe it? That's kind of like a waste of time, right? So that's what I want to teach you about today. So let me know who's here. Let me know if you've ever set goals. You know, put that in the comment section. I'm here looking at that and I can see. So what's going on? You know, goal setting is so hugely important, because the way I view it is that when you set goals, it's really providing you direction. It's giving you goal, it's giving you focus, and knows, so you kind of know which direction you're going in. For all of us, whether you're an entrepreneur or a career person, you know, there's just so much out there, bright, shiny object stuff to distract us, that if you don't have that focus of what you really want to achieve, you're in trouble. So goal setting is the first part, but that's not really the focus of today's live stream. It's really talk about what happens when you write these things and you don't believe it. So again, let me know who's here. Do a like, do a heart, share. Let me see. I'm seeing some people on, but I don't know who's here. So anyways, go ahead, just do that. So what I also know too is that when you set goals and you're able to say it out loud, you know, besides writing it down, that's like the first step. But when you actually say it out loud, it gives it really huge power, because it's kind of like you're making this conviction. You're saying, like, this is true. This is what I want to have happen to me, right? And when you say it out loud, it's like saying, I believe it. I know at my intensive, you know, we go around and I have everyone share their goals. I even have them stand up and really kind of say it and own it. So the other thing is that, again, you can write these really, really lovely goals, these vision statements that could be like pages and pages long. But if you don't believe it, then what's the point? And that's really the point of today's Facebook Live. So again, if you're here joining me, say hi, let me know who's here, do a like, a heart, or something, so I know who's here and who's watching. So a little bit of background on setting goals is that I believe there's really two ways of doing that. And one is a very realistic type of goal. You know, it's kind of like based on what you did before. So for example, if you know every winter, you know, during February break, you know, you go to Disney World, you take the family there, well, it's pretty reasonable to say, hey, you know, this year we're going to go to Disney World too, right? You know, and maybe you'll amp it up and say, well, instead of going for 5 days, we'll do 7 days, you know, but you've done it before, you know, you can do it again. And so for a lot of people, that's what their goals really are. It's like, I've got 6 clients, I'm going to go for 7, I'm going to go for 8, you know, kind of pretty well based on what you've done in the past. I've done this, so I can pretty well do that. And that's what I call a realistic goal. Again, nothing wrong with that, but it tends to be, for a lot of people, it tends to be very flat. Because like, yeah, you know, how many years in a row do I want to keep going to Disney World? Now, the other type of a goal is what I call, and nothing against Disney World, I'm just saying we keep doing the same stuff over and over again, it can often get a little dull. Now, the other thing too is that there's another type of goal, which is kind of like my Bewitched type of goal. You guys have heard over and over again my connection to Bewitched, that my uncle created it. And it's the other type of goal is like an imagination goal. It's like, okay, I love Disney World. I'm going to go to the one in California this year, or there's one in Paris. I'm going to go to the one in Paris. You know, so you're kind of setting something much bigger out of your typical paradigm. You know, I've been working with clients one-on-one. I'd love to create a group program, or I've been working with people over the phone. I'd love to do workshops. So it's really something that's pushing you in a bigger way, because when you do that, it creates a lot of excitement. And just your energy, it's like, ooh, you know, when you think about it, like Disney World or Disneyland, to go into the one in California, you've always gone to the one in Florida, or to go to the one in Europe, you know, I mean, it's more exciting. It's, ooh, I'm going to need a passport, and while I'm there, I'm going to see the Tour Eiffel, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and, you know, all these things start popping up, which is like goosebumps, right? It's a lot more fun. Would you guys agree? Let's see. And, oh, hey, Jess, how are you? And Lynn? So when you think about that, you know, those are more exciting, right? You know, because it is like, again, using the Disney World one, you know, it's a lot more exciting to think you're going overseas. Now, if you were in France, it might be more exciting for you to say, hey, I'm going to California or Florida to go to Disney World or Disneyland, right? So when you think about all that, it is much more exciting, right? Very often you get goosebumps. It's like your face lights up talking about it. But the problem is with this, there's always like a downside, so I want to share that with you, and this is what we're really talking about today, is that when it really puts you out of your paradigm, it creates a lot of fear and doubt, right? So it's like you can go like, wow, you know, it'd be great to go to Disneyland in Paris, and you do the vision board, and oh, this is so exciting, you know, but then you start looking at how much the plane fare costs, and you start looking at hotels there, and you got to go get a passport, and whatever. If you got kids, take the kids out of school, you know, and it's a bigger deal, and you know the whole thing. And you know, Paris, I don't believe you need to get vaccines, but if you didn't need, I mean, it creates a lot more stuff, right? And then all of a sudden the blocks start popping up, the reasons why it's not going to happen. So you stop believing it's really going to happen, and you end up just going back to Disney World in Orlando. So that's what we want to talk about, because you can see there's part of you that really desires to do this, but yet your mind starts pulling you back and starts giving you all the reasons why you can't. So everyone following me so far? Hey, Jody, I see you're there. Welcome. So let me just take a sip here. So the way it can show up is a lot of different ways. So I want you guys to start thinking about this. So when you set these really cool goals and these visions of how it can show up, one way you can do is you can run and hide, right? You know, you kind of pull the blanket over your head, the pillow over your head, and kind of pretend the rest of the world doesn't exist. You self-sabotage, okay? And think about how often this happens, that you just, and it's not deliberate. I'm just saying, when I say self-sabotage, it's not like you're deliberately doing something, but you may break your leg or something may happen, and you know, then you kind of rationalize and say, see, it wasn't meant to be. But these are things your body's working in conjunction with your fears and doubts. Often you go into victim mode, right? Like, see, other people get to go to Paris, to Disney World, but not me. You know, it just wasn't meant to be. Look how expensive these airfares are. I can't get the kids out of school, this and that, you know, and all these reasons, like poor me, right? And we make this our truth. Whatever it is, you know, whether you want to start doing a workshop or an event, whether you want to get more clients, whether you want to write a book, whether you want to do a telesummit, whatever, you know, it's like poor me. Look at all these reasons, all these things that are happening, that are conspiring for me not to have what I want, okay? Think about that. And yet you believe these things as truth. That's what I want to share with you, because I've been doing so many of these workshops and events, and I've worked with thousands of clients. I know, because I do the exact same thing. We believe these things to be true. We believe we're not meant to go to Disneyland in France, or we believe we're not meant to do that workshop or have that retreat or have a full event or do a telesummit or do a online course, whatever the heck it is. We believe it. We believe we can't charge that much money. We believe it. Okay? The first time when we raise our pricing, and the first time someone says no, so we just believe, kind of like our tail beneath our legs, between our legs rather, and go running back to where we were before. We believe, so go back into victim mode. See, other people can do it, but not me. Now, the other way it shows up is you procrastinate, right? You know, you look for everything else that needs to be done. Let me just see if anyone else is here. Please say hi. You look for other things that need to be done. You know, especially if you work out of your home, as a lot of us entrepreneurs do. You know, this needs to be clean. This needs to be cooked. You need to go grocery shopping. Whatever. You got to call somebody, pay a bill. Whatever the heck it is. All these reasons are again coming in the way. Also, too, you know, this bright, shiny object syndrome, right? It's like, ooh, you know, I know I was going to go do this, but this looks so cool. Or this looks cool. Or I'm going to go do this. Or I'm going to go do that. And then you basically get in this self-fulfilling prophecy of why something doesn't happen. Now, the other, what you need to know, so those are just some of the things. Those are some of the key. There's lots and lots of ways it shows up, but those are just some of the key ways that I want you to understand it's happening. So why does this happen? Why do you not believe it? Because the thing is, if you don't believe it, I was spending so much time teaching my clients this at the intensive last week, that when you even state the intention, it's already becoming a reality. It's already in your brain. It's already set, so it's already manifested in your brain. The rest of it is just the physical manifestation. But most people will not wait for the physical manifestation to pop up. They believe it's not happening, and boom, they go on to something else. Everyone follow me? This is serious. This is critical. This is one of these things that, you know, if you're watching this live, you need to go back and watch this again and write this part down, because that's so huge to understand. So why don't you believe it? Because see, the thing is, if you don't believe it, so if you set this intention, like this is the year we're going to go to Disney World or Disneyland in France, or this is the year I'm going to write that book, or this is the year I'm going to do that big event, or this is the year I'm going to start charging more, but you don't believe deep down that it's going to happen, it won't. It won't. So let's talk about why that's true. So one of the reasons you don't believe it's going to happen is because it hasn't happened in the past, right? You know, look, my business is 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 years, whatever. And I've never been able to raise my pricing, or I've never been able to do a full workshop, or I've never been able to write a book, or I've never been able to whatever, right? So you hold yourself back by the stories that are going on in the past. Everybody getting this? And if you're getting this, please click like, or do a click or heart or something, so I know that this is resonating with you, okay? So that's one big reason. You convince yourself, you talk yourself right out of it because it hasn't happened in the past. I've never done it before, so what makes me think it's going to happen in the future? Another reason that you don't believe it is that you're afraid to let yourself down. It's like, what if this time I really and truly believe it? I really and truly believe, I really truly want to go to Paris and go to Disneyland, but it's never going to happen. It just won't. You know, it's so far out of my world, it's never going to happen. So why get excited? I know I say I want to write that book, or I want to start charging more money, or I want to start doing workshops, whatever it is, but it's like, why get all excited? Because it's not going to happen, right? And then I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to feel bad about myself. I don't want to feel rejected, and I definitely don't want to tell people this is what I'm thinking about, and then look like a stupid fool because it didn't come true, right? So you've already totally talked yourself out of it. Before it's already starting to manifest in your brain, and you've already kind of said, no, go away, because I don't believe you really show up. Does this ever happen to anybody? Because it happens to all of us. We do all these all the time. And that's why it's so important for me to share this, because I don't want any of you to think you're alone. Take another sip of water here. Now, another way you stop yourself and you don't believe it is because people tell you you can't do it. Right? How often, I mean, think about, for a lot of us, this is my case, when I started my business, and even for a lot of things I've done since I've had my business, people are like, no, there's no way you can do that. You know, like, not in this economy, or not for this, or not for that, or, Kate, how can you start a business with no money? You know, it's like, people will tell you you can't do it. So when people tell you that you can't do it, guess what happens? You believe you can't do it, right? And then you don't move forward. So think about how many times that happens, that people are telling you that you can't do it. Now, what about the belief that you don't believe? You know, so they're either telling you that it can't be done, or that you can't do it. Like, so in other words, they're saying to you either nobody else in the world has done it, so what makes you think you can do it? Or else they're just telling you can't do it. You know, they sit there and go like, oh, come on, think of all those times, like, you know, you've started and stopped this, right? How many times have you been in a diet? How many times have you tried to quit this? How many times, I mean, come on, be realistic. Do you really think you're going to do it this time? Come on. You know, just between us, you know, it sounds great, sounds fun, but be honest, you're never going to follow through with this. People will say that to you. What do you think that's doing to your dreams, right? So they say it. Now, the last reason I want to share with you, I understand there's lots of them, I'm just giving you some of the key ones, but another really, really big reason that people don't believe is they don't believe they deserve it. They don't believe they're worth it. And think about how many times in your life, over and over and over again, that you've proven that to be true. Right? Whenever something didn't work out for you, you've just kind of said, see, another reason to show why I didn't deserve it, why I'm not worth getting this. That's probably the biggest reason of all. And we all do this. Just so you guys understand, I know I'm talking about this on Facebook Live, but understand everybody does this. They may not do it in their whole entire life, but they do it at least in certain parts of their life. And what I see what happens very often is that when I do see some people succeed, but they're not aligned with it, I see very often one way it shows up is that they tend to gain a huge amount of weight. Okay? Because they're out of alignment. So they're eating to kind of deal with those emotions. Often it can show up in bad relationships because, again, they don't believe it, so they have to have some way to kind of do that, or either pushing everybody away from them or they're treating other people badly. It can show up in a lot of anger, you know, all sorts of different emotions. So even for the people who do get it, if they don't believe it down deep and they haven't become aligned, it creates problems in other areas of their life. So tell me, is this resonating with anybody here? It should be. This is such powerful stuff. Hey, Ash, I see you're there. Hi. Hello from Boston. So this is really, really powerful stuff, and I need you guys to understand this because the truth is, if you don't believe deep down that it's gonna happen, it never ever will. It never will. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how many degrees you have. I don't care how fancy your office is. I don't care how many friends or followers you got on Facebook. If you don't believe deep down it's going to happen, it won't. So what I'd like to do, and I just, oh, thanks. Thank you, Ash. Oh, I'm sending you back love too. So if you don't believe this, it won't come true. And what I'd love to do is I'd love to do some tapping. So if you're here, yep, positive affirmations help Jess. But let me share something about that, and then I'd love to do a round of tapping if you guys are open to that. Is that the thing about affirmations is, and I love affirmations, don't get me wrong. It's like saying, oh, and if you guys see me looking down here, it's because my computer's here, my camera's here. So affirmations are like, you know, all the money I want easily comes to me. More than, you know, I easily earn millions of dollars. And when you say these are things that you want to have happen, but the truth is that if you don't really believe it right now, it's just words. It's just words, okay? And then if you're not connected with those words, it's just words. And the whole point is that you really want to start believing all this. It's so critical. Who knows of Cary Grant? Does anyone know who Cary Grant is? I'm sure somebody knows who Cary Grant is. So Cary Grant, his real name is Archibald Leach. A lot of people know that. You know, he grew up in a small town I don't know if they call him town or village in England, outside London. Very, very poor. And when he decided he wanted to make something of himself and become a movie star, he changed his name to Cary Grant, right? What a cool name, Cary Grant. And he was handsome and he was debonair and all this kind of stuff. And the reason I talk about him is that my uncle actually wrote the last movie that Cary Grant ever was in. It was actually filmed in Japan. My uncle went over to Japan, took his secretary, and they had breakfast with Cary Grant every day talking about the script. But understand this. Cary Grant made himself, Archibald Leach made himself into Cary Grant. There was no Cary Grant before that. Archibald Leach made himself into Cary Grant because he believed he could do it. So when you say these affirmations and you don't believe them, then think about all the Archibald Leaches we've never heard about, right? So the reason I love tapping is because tapping to me is probably the most powerful, gentle way of actually starting to switch your mindset. Now what you'll notice about it is that if you ever tap with me is I make it look really easy. The reason is that I'm super highly trained. I'm one of the highest trained tapping practitioners probably in the world. I invested in it. It was very, very important to me. So I like to make it look really easy for you to help you get some shifts. And so tapping is meant to be very, very gentle. Sorry, my little girl, Callie, is my little Karen Terrier, which is my girl. She's over there crying, so I had to see what she needed. So tapping, oh good, Jess, you've never heard of tapping. You are in for a treat. And Carrie, yep, who are you going to make yourself into? We spent so much time talking about this at the intensive the other day. And that's really understanding that, right? Who do you want to make yourself into? Right? That's the whole cool thing, is that every day you wake up, it's this new opportunity. Sorry, I could talk about this. I could do like a Facebook Live on the subject for weeks. And this is what I teach to my private clients, my during my intensive, when I do my retreats, anything. I spend all this time because it's so huge. And when you understand this, you know, they always say awareness is where it begins, and that's the first step. And the reason they say it is because once you get the awareness, that allows you the power of choice. That you can either say, yep, I'm going to keep staying the way I am, or no, you know what, I want something different. And I'm going to start finding out how to get something different. So, tapping. So for Jess and anybody else, I'm just going to give you the really nickel short version of tapping. Tapping is a very, very powerful mindset technique. And mindset is what all the studies say, is that mindset's at least 90% of your success or your failure. And I first learned about it, I was in the Caribbean, I was on vacation, and I went to this meditation class. Oh my gosh, the instructor, Darren, if you're ever listening, I know we're friends on Facebook, if you're listening, he had the most beautiful voice. And I love the meditation. At the end, when I was leaving, I complimented him on it and said, if only you could help me just give up ice cream. And he kind of looked at me, because this is in the Caribbean, I'm talking about like Boston and all that. And I explained to him that in Boston, on every street corner, you can pretty well get ice cream. And not just like from Memorial Day to Labor Day. I mean, you can get ice cream year round. And ice cream, as we all know, is delicious, but it's also, you know, sugar or cream, fat. You know, it's good to have every now and then, but on a regular basis, it's not so great or healthy. As I'm sure Carrie Roldan could tell you that, because she focuses in on stuff like this. So anyways, he said, I've got this really cool technique. Can I share that with you? So I said, sure, why not? Because when you're on vacation, you're like, whatever. You know, you try new drinks, new food, new experiences. You talk to new people. It's all about new. So he did this technique. I had no clue what it was called. I had no clue how it worked. But within a really short time, I had as much interest in eating ice cream as I did eating my glasses. I mean, honest to goodness, it just didn't even interest me anymore. And I was like, well, this is cool. But like, it was a beautiful day out. The beach was calling, and I went back down to the beach, didn't think much about it. And then a couple weeks later, I'm back at home, and I had this issue happen at work. This is when I was still in corporate. And my boss called me up, and he said, you know all these things that we promised you when you came to work with us about 8-9 months ago? He said, well, I can't deliver any of them. And I'm like, what the heck? This is the reason I left a big job to go work for you, and now you're breaking promises. And I was all set to, I was just livid. And so we agreed to meet the next day in the office. And so I reached out to this fellow in the Caribbean, and understand this is when Skype, this was 8 years ago, Skype stunk 8 years ago, honest to goodness. Every other minute it was cutting off, it was statically, it was echoey, it was horrible. And I said, look, I don't know anything about this technique, I have no idea what it's called, I have no idea how it works, but this is a deal, I have to meet with my boss tomorrow, and I'm really, really angry, I don't want to go into the meeting angry. So he did this technique for me, and with me rather, and then in a very short time, my anger against my boss dissipated. I met with my boss the next morning. I was calm, he was calm. He's like, Kate, I don't want you to leave. I said, great, I don't want to leave either. And he offered me more money and some more benefits, okay? Now, understand that if I had not done this tapping, I would have gone in very irate. And because I was irate and angry, he would probably come back the same way. We would have been like this at each other, right? And what happens when you got two people like that? Bam. It's not pretty, it's not good, it's not nice, it's very, very unpleasant. And who knows, I might have gotten so angry, I would have just said, screw it. I mean, who knows? But instead, it was a calm conversation. He was happy because I got to stay. I was happy because I got more money. So, over those few months, he kept helping me with various things over Skype. This thing happened, that thing happened, whatever. And finally, I said, you know what? I want to become an expert in this technique, and I invested tens of thousands of dollars, discovered it had been formed in the 90s. Gary Craig developed the initial technique, which is emotional freedom techniques, and he used it on Vietnam vets. Not to go into the whole long story, but help them with their PTSD. And it's helped people anywhere from soup to nuts, from food cravings, like I demonstrate, to all sorts of fears of flying, fears of height, fear of this, fear of that, fear of public speaking, and helps with all the beliefs, all the old stories, the fears and doubts that we hold on to, and all the way up to PTSD. And there's some people, I don't use it for this, but there are people who deal with medical issues. I mean, so everything soup to nuts it helps you with. So tapping, the way you're going to get to experience it today is really like kind of like Simon Says. So I'm going to remind everybody you're responsible for your own mental health, your own well-being. If for some reason it bothers you, I'm going to tell you simply stop, because obviously over Facebook Live I can't help you. If we were in person, I could. So I'm going to do kind of a general tapping routine, just so you guys get to experience and just a little bit about this topic. So let's see. Oops, I'm seeing more notifications. Oop, I just want to see. So anyways, let me just take a sip. So I'm going to ask everyone to take 3 really nice deep breaths, and you're going to inhale really slowly through your nose. Hold it for a few seconds and let it out really slowly through your mouth. And do that about 3 times, 3 really nice deep breaths. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to follow along with me. You're going to say what I say when I say it, or right after me rather, and you're going to tap where I tell you to tap. And if you've got glasses, you're going to take them off, because we tap around the points. So we're going to do, again, I'm going to do a really gentle round of tapping, just so I know there's some of you who've never tapped before, and I want you to get to experience it. So again, just kind of follow along with me. It's meant to be very gentle. We're going to be kind of like Simon Says. Tapping works on, basically we're tapping, literally tapping on acupuncture points, which acupuncture's been around for how many thousands of years, and we're saying certain phrases. And when you put the two together, it's very, very powerful, and it's really how I've been able to accelerate my own success so dramatically, both personally and professionally, and how I've been able to help thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs I've worked with. Okay, so let's start on kind of really easy. We're going to take a couple of hands, and you're just going to tap the side. This is a karate chop. You're going to take a couple of fingers and just tap there and repeat after me. And we're going to just do a general round in this belief, like my dream won't come true. And I just want to remind everybody, in case anyone has to go early, if you are looking for mentorship, if you want to really get support, both the strategies, the action you need to take in your business, as well as all this mindset stuff, which you know is what's holding you back, email my team, info@katebeaters.com. That's info@katebeaters.com. And let's set up a time to talk and see if we're a good fit for us to work together. Okay, so we're going to start with single karate chop. Okay, and just repeat after me. So these couple of fingers, it, again, doesn't matter which hand, this hand, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, even though, and so you guys repeat after me, even though I have this belief that I'm never going to be able to reach my vision. You guys repeating after me and tapping. No matter how hard I try, I want to find a way to love and accept myself. And I'm just raising my hand just so you can see. You don't need to raise your hand this high. Okay, again, repeating after me. Even though I really don't believe I'm going to reach this vision, even though what I've written sounds so nice on paper and sounds so good, I wish it were true, but I don't believe it. I want to find a way to love and accept myself. And now the last time. Even though I really don't believe this vision will come true, I've tried so many times, year after year, and it's still not happening. I want to find a way to love and accept myself and work through it. Okay, shake your hands out. And now we're going to go to the points on the face and body. Just follow along with me, okay? And tap where I tap and repeat after me. I don't believe it. And then the outer eye. I don't believe this vision will come true. Under eye. I don't believe this vision will come true. Under nose. I don't believe this vision will come true. Chin point. I don't believe this vision will come true. Now collarbone, you can see, I don't believe this vision will come true. And now underarm, you can see it's about 4 inches below the underarm here. You're tapping. I don't believe this vision will come true. And then liver point, which is about 4 inches below the nipple, kind of under the underwire bra. I don't believe this vision will come true. Your wrist point, I can't really do it because of my break, but you're going to be tapping here. I don't believe this vision will come true. Top of the head, I don't believe this vision will come true. And we're going to go back around again. I've tried so many times. I've done so many things, and it just doesn't happen, no matter how hard I try. And I've tried over and over again. I wonder why it doesn't come true. I'm just going to stand up so you can see the points on underarm. Maybe there's something wrong with me in the liver point. Maybe I don't deserve it to happen. Then wrist point. Maybe but everybody else deserves it but me. Maybe I'm just not meant to have success. That's what I've sometimes start to believe, because it seems like this has taken so long. And then I just get discouraged, frustrated, and disappointed that it's not happening. And I've almost started to believe and tell myself, oops, let me go here so you can see, that it'll never ever happen, that it's not meant to happen to me. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. But the story is not serving me. This old story is not helping me. It's not helping me have the life I want. It's not helping me reach the dreams I want. It's not helping me have the money I want. Maybe it's time for me to learn how to return this old story to the library and write a new one. Maybe it's time for me to start to learn how to do that. And then liver point, to release these old fears and doubts, to write a new story, to create a new image that's more powerful, that puts me in a place of success. I want to do that, but I'm scared. I want to do it, but I don't know how. But what if I could be open and willing to get the support I need for that to happen, to make that come true, to know that this is just an old story. I can make my story whatever I want it to be, and I know I am safe. Okay, everyone take a nice deep breath, let it out slowly. And as you're releasing the breath, you might even see some of the fears pop away a little bit. And if you like that tapping, do likes or hearts or something. Let me know you're here. And if you have any questions, let me know. And again, just to remind everybody, if this is something that you'd like to learn more from, please email my team, info@katebeters.com, if you're looking for mentorship, and let's have a conversation, see how I can support you with your business. Oh, good. I'm seeing some hearts. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Carol. So what I want to share with you is that, and for those of you who just got to experience tapping for the first time, I'm so excited. I always get so excited when I get to do that. And of course, it's a little bit more challenging over Facebook Live, but that's why I kept standing up so you could see some of the points. But it's the most powerful technique I know of that can gently, easily help you shift things. And when you work with someone like me, I'm able to pick up on all the stories that you don't even know you have. And it's just pretty amazing how that happens, that you don't even realize how and where and when you're holding yourself back. Because we rationalize. We tell ourselves the story. We live inside a story that's not really serving us, you know. And sometimes you just got to get rid of it, just like old clothes that no longer fit. So I just want to see if there are any questions before I end this Facebook Live. Any questions, thoughts, whatever. And again, please share this with your friends, your community. And thank you for all the hearts and everything. So I just want to see if there are any questions. Ooh. Well, I'm just checking. I don't see any. So if you guys do have any questions, again, feel free and email my team, info@katebeters.com. But honestly, this is what I find. The action is really, really critical. Because you got to start out with the vision, writing a vision statement, putting together what actions to take, when to take them, doing things in the right order. That's really critical. That's what I teach my clients. But if your head's not in the right place, if Archibald Leach didn't believe he could become Cary Grant, he never would have. And if you don't believe deep down, even though you can put on that pretty dress and put makeup on and smile and all this other kind of stuff, if you don't believe it deep down, it's never ever going to happen. I want to help you change all that. So if that's something you're interested in, reach out to me, reach out to my team. And I want to wish everybody a really wonderful day. And until we meet again, be brilliant.